What the hell is this? Did someone accidentally put a copy of NBA 2K17, but with even more stupid unplayable content in my 2K18 case? No? Oh, so this game just looks and feels exactly the same as 2K17, but with even more stupid and unplayable content. Sure, I got it. Well then, it's a good thing I didn't pay $60 for this lazy repackaging of an already below average game. Oh wait, I did. And there were people who spent $100 for the Legend Edition. $100 for this dumbass shit? Please excuse my tone, but I'm tired of 2K doing this to me. No, they're doing this to us. They've been releasing the same game for the past 4 years, starting with 2K15. The last innovative NBA 2K, in my opinion, was 2K13, which built upon the breakthroughs made in 2K12. Now, for these two specifically, I'm talking about the actual gameplay. The dribbling, shooting, and defensive mechanics, as well as the presentation, invigorated the series and made people forget that NBA Live ever even existed before. But I think the demise of NBA Live actually had a negative impact on the 2K series, because since then, they've had the market all to themselves. I'll get into that a little more later, but we must talk about this game. So this will be my longest review to date, but please bear with me and watch this thing through. If you haven't bought this game and are thinking about it, or if you have never played an NBA 2K game and are thinking about joining the community, or if you've been a fan of the franchise and just haven't brought yourself to buy the game yet, you must watch this video. Even if you disagree with everything I'm about to show and tell you, even if you think this is the dumbest video you've ever watched, that's fine. But I need to show you my experience, because I know you won't see this on any professional reviews or by any sponsored YouTuber who regularly uploads playthroughs of this game. All you're going to get from them is that NBA 2K18 is the king of the sports genre, and it's just one of the best iterations in this franchise, and that it's simply one of the best sport games that we've ever seen. Here's why that's all bullshit. If you haven't seen my video, Why NBA 2K17 Sucks, I invite you to check it out really quick because I will be referring to it multiple times for added emphasis. So since this will be an all-out trashing of this godforsaken game, I'll be nice and start with the good. Most of this review will focus on my career, but I'll touch on every mode there is to play. First of all, the face scanning mechanic is the best it's ever been for me. Since it was introduced in 2K15, I never once produced a face scan that looked anything remotely similar to what I actually look like. This one is actually very accurate. Yes, I know I'm an ugly douche, but I'm impressed because it really does look like me even when running up and down the court. I also like the decision to add a secondary skill set to your player. I almost always pick shooting guard, and with the recent attribute caps, it was difficult to make a two guard who is both an excellent slasher and a prolific three-point shooter. Hell, factor in playmaking as well. It was tough to make a shooter or a slasher that could also pass the ball accurately. This way your player can be proficient in more than one discipline. I like the way you upgrade badges as well. In past games, you could just buy any badges you wanted for VC and make your player awesome at everything. In other games, the game didn't even tell you what you needed to do in order to progress a badge or earn it at all. Like the Limitless Range badge. Well, how deep behind the line did you have to be? And how many of those attempts did you have to make? What about Dimer? 100 assists? 200? 200 over 20 consecutive games? What specifically did you have to do on the court to earn those badges? Well, now each badge has quantifiable requirements that you can see after each game and at any point in the navigation section while in the neighborhood. Each specific stat, like assists, three-pointers made, steals, good shot contests, etc., are given a point value, and those points are calculated after each game so you know exactly what you need to do to earn and rank up badges. The attribute cap breaker is similarly modeled in this way. Your game score, so to speak, along with training and working out, allows you to break your caps as your player progresses, with you being able to see this progress after every performance. When you reach specific attribute levels, you earn a set of rewards which are used to upgrade your player, while also acting as a milestone so you can quantify your progress. And I appreciate the new open world style environment called the neighborhood. It's a nice new addition that makes you somewhat feel like you're role playing the life of an NBA player off the court. You can get a haircut, tattoos, buy clothes, work out, hang out in your top floor apartment, play pickup games and challenges with other players, practice with your team, and even go to a little miniature Chuck E. Cheese complete with Papa Shot and NBA trivia. I also appreciate the locker room and shoot around sequences. Again, small additions that add to the immersion. And as far as my GM goes, I appreciate the ambition to create an interactive story of a league executive running a team, with more focus on decision making both within the organization and also with the media at press conferences. These new additions are nice. They're not at all the problem. The problem is with everything else in the game. But then again, that's par for the course. 2K has been dressing up the same game for years now, adding little tiny cool features one at a time while leaving nearly everything else unchanged. I'm going to be focusing on 5 main aspects of this game and use them to show you why this piece of shit isn't worth your hard-earned money. Gameplay, physics, tediousness, lack of attention to detail, and cringe. You'll see that all 5 of these aspects have one common theme: a serious lack of innovation. So let's begin with gameplay, the most important aspect of this game. You might not care about the aesthetics or style, but everyone can agree that the gameplay is critical to the enjoyment of a game. So how is it? Well, in a word, terrible. If you play on Hall of Fame mode, you'll be extremely frustrated from start to finish. Instead of making the game challenging, where maybe you have to mix up your moves or learn to adapt to each opponent and change your style of play in order to be successful, on Hall of Fame mode, your teammates are pure idiots and your opponents are gods, which is exactly how it's been for the past several years. Unless you play point guard, which allows you to call plays and run the offense, your teammates just pass it around to each other on the perimeter and throw up some garbage as the shot clock expires. Or they throw a stupid pass that gets stolen. Or they pull up mid-range with a defender draped all over them and miss horribly. Or they pull up from mid-range when they can easily cut to the basket for a dunk or layup and miss horribly. Or it gets passed inside and the guy puts up this awkward layup and misses horribly when it should be an easy score. Or they just run out of bounds for no reason. Or you set them up perfectly with a pass inside and they fumble it away for no reason without even being touched. Or I think you get the point. Sometimes the game will combine these idiotic tactics, like in this sequence, featuring an illogical pull-up jumper and 2 missed layups. They will also refuse to take your screen sometimes, which leaves you standing there like an idiot as they ignore you. Are you cutting to the basket unguarded for an easy score? Yeah, no. Your teammates will just turn it over instead, or won't pass it to you at all. But it's not all on your teammates. You will also act like a stupid fool, whether you want to or not. You turn the ball over without anyone trying to steal it from you. You want to make an uncontested layup? Good luck. You can expect to miss about half of those. How about on defense? Well, of course, your opponent, whoever it is, looks like the dream team. Your teammates doing everything they can to help them out. They do an excellent job of not even pretending to guard their matchup, especially in the paint. They also stand around watching the other team grabbing offensive rebounds and putting them in for scores. Transition baskets for your opponents have about a 99% chance of going in, no matter what type of shot it is or how much defense is being played. Conversely, when you try to go transition, sometimes quicker and with better shot selection than the computer, nope, can't buy a basket. Your teammate will be boxing out while the shot's in the air, then the computer will magically go right through that box out, no over the back foul, grab the rebound, and put it back for the score, all while your teammate stands there looking like a dumbass. Oh, and you've probably noticed, your teammates usually will tack on a foul for an easy and one. The physics contained in the game are some of the worst I've ever seen. They're even worse than 2K17, which were disgusting. I encountered so many examples of players going through each other's bodies that I stopped trying to record them because it became extremely redundant. You get the point. And this is every single game, by the way, no exceptions. And even though I slowed them down to show you how egregious they are tremendously noticeable at full speed. But it's not just that the game is really ugly to look at because of these physics. They actually make the game unfair for you while you're playing. Take this example of someone stealing the ball from me by running through my body, never actually going for a steal. But when I inadvertently go through their bodies, no such steal for me. How about this one? When I actually go for an interception on the pass, even though it should deflect off my body, the ball instead goes through my body, and the other guy never loses the ball, no such steal again. It's not fair to you when the game engine works for your opponent and not for you. Or maybe this is intentional and harkens back to my point about the developers not knowing how to make the game difficult, so they just make it unfair. But this was extremely prevalent in last year's game as well. This is footage from my video, Why NBA 2K17 Sucks, where I feature the disgusting physics from that game. Well, see for yourself, not only did they not fix the problem, it's just as prevalent as ever. Look at the graphics too, it all looks exactly the same. If you didn't know any better, could you even tell the difference between 2K17 and 2K18? Because I sure can't. Simply one of the best sport games that we've ever seen? Bullshit! You know how when you're watching an average movie that has a really slow pace, it turns into a bad movie? Well, when you're playing NBA 2K18, which is a bad game, and you're bogged down by its incredibly slow pace, it feels like an absolutely terrible game. I'm not just talking about the eternal grind to make your player an all-star, not just talking about the cinematics, which feel like watching paint dry, but the first thing I noticed are the loading screens. After weeks of playing, I've calculated that the average load screen for me is 46 seconds. That's every load screen, period. Whether you're waiting to play a game, waiting to finish a game and return to the neighborhood, or even taking the elevator up and down to and from your apartment. Think about it. You might finish a game and return to the neighborhood, go up to your apartment, go back down, go practice with your team, finish practicing with your team, play a Pro-Am pickup game, finish a Pro-Am pickup game, then start the next game. That's 6 minutes of load screens. 6 minutes of just sitting there doing nothing. Now let's talk about playing. Well, if you want to progress your player and reach 99 overall, like the name of the game mode this year, you're going to have to play 12-minute quarters, or at least something close to that, in order to earn the VC you need, since they axed the Hall of Fame difficulty modifier, which means playing really well on Hall of Fame does not grant you 2 times the VC, so there's no incentive to do so, which is very interesting since everything in the game requires significant amounts of VC. Hope you like to grind. If you simulate games, you get nothing, so it's a waste of time. 48 minutes per game. I know your player doesn't usually play the whole 48 minutes, but it ends up being that with the stoppages and loading screens. Times 82 regular season games is 65 and a half hours for one season without a single second in the playoffs. That's already getting close to open world RPG games in their entirety. And that's just your rookie season. Oh, and if that's not tedious enough for you, between these games you play are unskippable cutscenes. I'll get to how incredibly stupid these cutscenes are later on, but regardless, with an average time of 5 minutes per cutscene in between your games, that's another 7 hours of cutscenes that you are forced to sit through whether you like it or not. Unskippable. Not only that, but these cutscenes add absolutely nothing to the story. It's just ridiculously stupid banter, completely unrelated to the NBA season. No drama, no compelling plot, no setup for a later event you can't wait to see, no nothing. Even trying to show you examples is difficult because these scenes are so pointless that you won't even know what's going on. And they're so long and unskippable that I can't put too many in here because the video would be way over an hour long. For just a few examples. I'm a stickler for the details. Small things that most people probably would never notice, I notice them. No matter how insignificant they may seem, details make environments visually appealing and can give the player a better experience. This year, more than ever, 2K spent no effort on the details. One of the first things I noticed? Each player's picture. They're exactly the same as last year. Why? You really couldn't be bothered to add new pictures for each player? Players that were traded mid-season last year have those generic animated pictures that were automatically generated at the time of the trade. You do realize DeMarcus Cousins played 17 games with the Pelicans. That's 17 games from which you could have grabbed a picture of him in his new Pelicans uniform, like this one. All rookies have the same stock animated pictures, some of which look just as good as those modeled from players who uploaded custom draft classes to last year's game. You couldn't find the time to grab a picture from Lonzo Ball during Summer League, which was a full 2 months before the game was even released, by the way. Even last year's game did that. And after this crazy summer with numerous All-Stars joining new teams, you couldn't even Photoshop the player in their new uniform. Even fan photos of Paul George and Melo in their new OKC uniforms look decent enough. And you're a $3.2 billion company. Remember these books on this bookshelf that has appeared in every 2K game since 2K14? Not only in the My Career apartment, but in the My GM office as well? The pregame and in-game scoreboards and banners are exactly the same as last year. Hell, the overall presentation is exactly the same. An episode of 2K TV plays, then the pregame show with Ernie, Kenny, and Shaq, which looks and sounds exactly the same. Then the national anthem plays and you start playing, with David Aldridge doing an interview. I can't even appreciate the addition of a national anthem singer because it's the same disgusting model each time. She looks like plastic. You couldn't be bothered to add two singers for variation? Maybe a male singer? Or just a different looking female singer? No, of course not. The player and coaching models look exactly the same as last year, with their faces and clothes looking like plastic. This is a $60 AAA game. The players all have the same facial and body animations, making these stupid ass faces that no NBA player makes during a game. And they all move like rigid, defective robots. The little coach suggestions at the end of each half are broken, similar to the coach satisfaction system in 2K15. Remember that? Remember how broken it was? Your coach would give you the goal of cutting the deficit to 5 points, and when you would, your coach satisfaction would drop a letter grade. Yeah, this is basically the same thing, except there are no goals. He's just talking nonsense to you. Run the pick and roll more when you run the pick and roll every single time up the court. X player is really killing us. Guard him better. Then you check the box score and see X player has 2 points. Aw, 2K, still haven't got rid of this stupid update required screen that is permanently fixed to your game until you perform said update? You couldn't just put a single pop-up that can be dismissed upon reading it? It just adds the perfect touch of immersion when you're in the final seconds of an intense close game and there's a disgusting update required block taking up half the screen. Which brings us to the most mortal of all this game's sins, the cringe. Never in a million years did I think that a franchise that contained Jackson Ellis, frequency vibrations, boss key yachts, the president of basketball, and orange juice could get even more stupid. It seems the writers don't know how to make a fun and engaging story that most fans of the NBA can relate to. So instead, they just pull out every stereotype and cliche in the book, overload on cheesy jokes that always fall flat, and write dialogue that makes Tommy Wiseau look like Shakespeare. Every character is an over-the-top parody that NBA players should be disgusted in. Is this what the writers actually think Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving talk and act off the court? I can't even describe it for you. You just have to see it for yourself.
Yo, look, DJ, this fancy Japanese toilet trying to spray water in my booty, man. It's too complicated. Where the buttons at?
There are no buttons,
What?
B. That's why we got it. Just talk to it.
Talk to it like a person?
Right, yes.
For real? Yo,
What's up,
Mr. Toilet. Ow! DJ said something bad, man. It's that witchcraft.
DJ, that's that
That
movie
voodoo.
it's telling about.
Crazy, man.
B,
DJ,
B,
DJ, look
that's
at the
why
movie.
we got the toilet,
Yo,
all right?
toilet.
So we can
The
talk to
meaning
him.
of life, man. What's B Fresh really about to be up to? Yo, toilet. What came first, the chicken or the egg? You know what I'm saying? But who crossed the street?
Hey,
first?
B,
Who done crossed the street?
hey,
the egg?
B, I gotta go,
toilet.
man. I got a game I gotta prep for.
DJ, you still there? What's wrong with you? Why you listening to me use the bathroom? You nasty? Man, peace.
All right, peace. Hey, Boo Boo, what are you looking for?
Me? Oh, I was looking for them boys' pride. After what?
Yeah! All right, calm down. Give this man some space.
Brian, what up, man? Hey.
Don't have time for
What's
this.
going on, man?
Hey,
Yo! Are you serious?
I am so serious.
ooh.
And it's the
Get
big
it,
moment.
get it.
This is
He
like a
gon'
big
play
step.
in the
Yes,
NBA.
celebrate. This is
That's
fun.
DJ. We gon' 3 points.
Good rhythm.
All night.
Okay, enough of this. Wish I could see the look on her face. I bet she wouldn't have 3 chins unless my mom took the picture of her when she did it.
Do you think I should change the locks?
Is you sure you haven't played this before?
Okay, I'm done.
All right, little bro, go ahead and open your eyes.
Never make that sound again.
Sorry,
Hey, wait. You got something right there.
Well, we're here.
Oh, wait, that's just your foot in your mouth. Ah, got him.
You're so corny.
Yeah,
man.
whatever. You just mad because I'm going to have you looking silly. Just watch.
You gonna take that?
man.
This is the man. He is a myth, a legend. The angel on your shoulders and the ghost in the machine, baby.
How many times I got to tell you not to bring up ghosts around me?
We
man?
still on that ghost thing, boo-boo?
I've seen them, bruh.
You
I
seen
don't
them
have to
where?
keep telling you they're
where?
real.
Where? Where they at, boo-boo?
Hey,
I don't see
everywhere.
no
Sam,
ghosts.
Sam.
There go one right there.
They real, bro.
All right, my
Thank
bad,
you.
my bad. Look, anyway.
This game is just broken. Glitches will randomly destroy your experience. In this clip, the game cuts off the final seconds of the third quarter for no reason, and then proceeds to a black screen with Kevin Harlan continuing to provide commentary.
Inside, and that's where they've gotten their best production tonight. We'll return shortly.
What the hell was that? Here's another example of the commentators talking over a black screen.
That shot, incredible.
Nice. 3 points at the buzzer. How in the world did he get that one to go?
Tie game in Utah. And back with the start of the second quarter in just a moment. And Derek Favors known for his work ethic. And
What? How about this glitch, where the timeout banner remains on the screen after a timeout so you can't see the shot clock? The fans look like plastic zombies. No emotion. NBA games are some of the most exciting events you can go to. These people look like they're at the DMV. And the way they move is like one of those studio audiences when they're told to react in a certain way. It looks so fake. And look at the cheerleaders. Just about the ugliest character models I've ever seen on a next-gen console. These are the kind of graphics and animations you used to see on the PS3. If all of these features aren't bad enough, 2K decided to take this shit show to the next level and base every single thing you do around buying VC. You want to upgrade your My Player? Empty your pockets. You want to customize your player with cool gear? Empty your pockets. You want to get a haircut? Empty your pockets. Buying packs in My Team, gaining new abilities in My GM, obtaining better animations such as jump shots, dribble moves, and dunks, it all revolves around VC. My career is titled The Road to 99, so they start you off at 60 and wish you the best. Just out of curiosity, I checked to see how much it would cost to upgrade all the way from 60. 190,609 VC, which costs $50. And that won't even get you to 99. It only gets you to 85 because of the cap breaker, so you will need to grind for hours anyway. I've been playing consistently since release, roughly 3 weeks, and I'm at 70. 70! 10 points in 3 weeks. Well, which is easier and faster? Grinding for over 65 hours in your rookie season, or spending the $50, almost enough to buy another game by the way, to get close enough so maybe you won't have to grind for as long. They even have the audacity to offer a 450,000 VC option for $100. $100? By the way, this is only upgrading your character. What about clothes, shoes, haircuts, animations, my team and my GM upgrades? Hope your credit score is doing well these days. I mean, it is so obvious that this game is purely a cash grab, you can't defend any argument against it. Not that 2K will listen to or watch any of this, but I have several suggestions that I feel would improve this franchise, with a special focus on the My Career story and gameplay. Why do they force you to be an undrafted free agent, sob story, American dream, Rocky Balboa type player? It's unrealistic because despite the fact that undrafted players have made impacts in the league before, there's never been one who's won the MVP or made the Hall of Fame. So if your player does either, it breaks the immersion. Probably the best undrafted player by acclamation, in my opinion, was Ben Wallace. 4-time All-Star, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, NBA champion, etc. But name all the other undrafted players who were perennial All-Stars considered amongst the best players in the league. Why can't you choose what kind of background you want? Hell, even Madden lets you do that. Let us decide if we want to be a long shot undrafted player working our way up the ranks, or let us decide to be a LeBron James, #1 overall pick with all the expectations of being the face of the league, or maybe a late first rounder with something to prove, or maybe a 4-year college player drafted late in the draft. Just give us a choice. Forcing us all to be cardboard cutouts is not engaging. Bring back high school and college, even if you can't get the licensing for some of the best college programs. I would even be alright with generic colleges, as long as we get to play a full season. But have more than one college to choose from, with each one having unique characteristics and prestige. Maybe the more prestigious granting better exposure, which in turn leads to a higher draft pick. But maybe a con would be the enormous pressure added, so if you don't perform well enough, your stock decreases. A lesser prestige school would work the opposite way and give us the chance to go overseas for a year if we want. You have the international teams in the game already. Our performance in high school opens up more recruitment opportunities. Our performance in college or overseas opens up higher draft possibilities. Give us off the court opportunities to speak with the media and perform acts that positively or negatively affects our draft stock. Bring back the sit downs with GMs as well. How about a booster coming to us during our recruitment, offering us a monthly stipend? And if we take it, we might get more VC, but also run the risk of getting caught and having our stock tank. Off the court in the league, give our decisions more weight. As it stands now, every decision tree and dialogue option is two-pronged. There's either an obviously selfish or obviously selfless option, or you can't even tell the difference between the two. But either way, your decisions don't matter. There are no consequences, positive or negative. So if you're an arrogant douche or a respectful, good teammate, it doesn't have any impact on the story. How about if you're kind towards the media and your teammates, it affects the number and type of endorsements you are offered. Maybe you can have the option to beef with teammates or opponents, which affects your fan support, in turn affecting your endorsements. Speaking of endorsements, make them noticeable. 70 VC per game for a Nike contract is insulting. You can't tell me that a perennial all-star makes as much money as a 6th or 7th man. So if you're the former, have us make significant VC to reflect it. If we're the latter, hold some of that VC back to encourage us to keep improving. But someone who has Nike, Gatorade, and Mountain Dew contracts would be swimming in cash, so make it realistic. Instead of making us play every single minute of every single game in order to progress our character, how about bringing back key games? Maybe allow us to skip to divisional games or rivalry games, or the fifth game after a 4-game win streak so the pressure is on to keep it going, something like that. But still allow us to earn salary and endorsements for simulated games. That way we can still earn VC at a decent rate without having to play every single game. And please, for the love of God, get rid of the stupid nicknames. Just call us by our last name, unless you really are called by a nickname. Just give us a choice. Don't force it. And add 2 more voice actors. Despite what you may think, not everyone who plays this game is black. It looks so dumb when someone as pale white as I am has the voice of Chris Rock. How about this? 3 voice actors, each one sounding totally different, maybe a little ethnically ambiguous to give everyone a chance to feel immersed in the game. It wouldn't even cost that much more to add 2 extra voice actors. I mean, Saints Row 2, a game released in 2008, gave you 3 voice actors to choose from. Different styles of play. I know most of the league is trending towards up-tempo, 3-point shooting styles of play. But what about the Dallas Mavericks, Memphis Grizzlies, Utah Jazz, teams that over the last several seasons have focused more on defense and slower pacing? Every single team in this game plays exactly the same. They shoot the same amount of threes, same amount of free throws, same points in the paint, fast break points, it's all the same. You can play the Warriors, then turn around and play the Mavericks, and you can't even tell them apart. Maybe give teams their own styles of play, with different coaching. Make it noticeable. You can tell when you're playing an up-tempo team versus a slower-paced team. This allows you to change your style of play and adapt to your opponent, just like in real life. How about height advantages and mismatches? With the exception of a 7-foot, 250-pounder backing down a 5'11", 180-pound point guard, height advantages and mismatches don't exist. Anyone can score on anyone, but at the same time, anyone can defend anyone. One of the reasons Golden State is so unstoppable is the mismatches they exploit constantly. No other team in the league is constructed to be that skilled with that size and athleticism. So make it so in the game. Reward positionless players that can defend multiple positions instead of just having everyone be able to do it. In my GM or my league, when you construct a lineup of 6'7" and above players, all skilled who can shoot the 3, that team should be unstoppable too. And yet you can't even tell the difference when you play a team without such size and skills. It's a wash. Add some realism. It's my fault I'm so disappointed. I told myself I wasn't going to give in this year, and I did. Like the old saying, fool me once. Well, I've been getting fooled for the past 3 years at least. 2K refuses to acknowledge the serious faults of their series, and to add insult, they make this edition feel like a mindless cash grab with the sole purpose of exploiting its loyal fans. My final score for NBA 2K18 is a 2 out of 10. It's terrible. But if things are ever going to change, we must band together and hit them where it hurts. I've decided I will not buy any more editions of this series without first watching hours of someone else's gameplay. I encourage you to do the same. If we keep buying it up, no change will ever take place. If I see that 2K has made a conscious effort to improve upon this dumpster fire, I mean real innovation, then I'll consider it. But only then. I've taken up enough of your time, and I appreciate you seeing my experience. I suspect your experience was similar if you played it. Feel free to comment down below and share your thoughts, and as always, thank you for watching.